the other. We have had instances where people have cleaned computers and say, let them start on a clean slate. People have not made a very clear handover notes as they move. So knowledge transfer may not occur in such circumstances. So this presentation will be very, very important. I think I've answered the few issues which were raised. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair, for the response. Colleagues, we have copies of the minutes of the previous meeting. Have you been provided copies? So I believe we have been perusing them, and I will ask the people in the first row the minutes.
We go quickly through the corrections before we go to Madam Horizon. This Secretariat, can I answer the first correction? My faculties are still very clear, and I remember very well that I was present in this meeting. I don't know where my name is. Maybe it disappeared because I'm the chair.
I am not captured anywhere. I'm sorry. It's not it. Hello?
File capture attendance, page 1. Any other corrections on attendance? And apologies. I see apologies, nobody was captured at all, so Secretariat, can we improve on that? Page 2, any corrections? Are all your names captured well? Page 2, are all the names captured well? Page 3, corrections, all the names captured well. Page 4, we are still on corrections. Any corrections on page 4? Page 5. Page 5. Any corrections? Secretariat, since you did very well, there are no corrections. Page 6. Page 6. Yeah. Okay. I will take note of that. Any correction on page 6? Page 7. Page 7, any correction? Page 8. Page 9. Page 9, any correction? Silence means you are satisfied. Page 10. With the amendments, do we confirm this is the true record of the deliberations of the day? Can somebody move to that effect? Yes, so Honorable.
Let's move that you adopt.
Seconded. And may I request the mover to introduce himself because people are wondering who is the mover.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm called none other than Uncle Cox Alfred, a military ranking, a one-star general, Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs.
General, you are most welcome. There are other people who came in later when we had finished our introductions. May you kindly allow us to know who you are so that we don't begin guessing whether you are in the right place.
Good morning. My name is Ingavi PHR Minister of Local Government.
Good morning. Jacinta is my name. PHR Regional Policy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Amoino, Principal Human Resource Officer from the Health Service Commission. My name is Danda Said. I am the Principal Human Resource Officer in the Regional Hospital.
My name is Nelvala Caroline Cherao. I am the Regional Hospital. My name is Susan Mzaki Wamai, Senior Human Resource Officer, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, standing in for Mr. Nelson, who was not well. Good morning, everyone. Oselia Lebo is my name, and I'm acting HR manager for NEMA. Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Mayama. I'm the Principal Human Resource Officer, so that's the Human District.
Everyone, Leonard Jamukama, the Principal
Okay. Thank you very much. Not seeing you, Michael.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mechibuke Mary Betty. I'm the Senior Human Resource Officer, Ministry of Water and Environment. I apologize for the assistant commissioner that good friend. Currently in the meeting of safety. Thank you.
Please, who have joined us, you're welcome. We are currently looking at the minutes for corrections and in line with the command structure. I think the mover being a one-star general I don't think can be seconded by anybody, but we take the move, the suggestion is that we adopt the minutes as the true recording of the proceedings. Thank you very much. May I ask someone to take us through the action point, please?
Thank you, Chair. And the acting permanent secretary, the action points or the action plan for the last meeting. The first item or issue was HR audit by the Office of the Auditor General, and it was for all staff, and this was concluded. The second point, it was on formation of the Enrollments Review Board. The responsible officer or the officer responsible was Commissioner Compensation, and the status, the cabinet memo awaits clearance by the cabinet secretariat. The
Procedure.
That was status at that time. They were awaiting a cabinet clearance for the cabinet memo. What's the status of now?
This is status of today. This is what the commissioner is getting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that clarification is timely, but also members, let's get the status and then we can discuss and maybe seek further clarifications on the status. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Issue number 3, all MDAs have client charters by July 2023, and it was all votes. And the status, 12 MDAs have client charters in place. That is OPM, OP, Ministry of Works and Transport, Ministry of Public Service, Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Gender, Education Service Commission, Soroti Regional Referral Hospital, Entebbe Regional Referral Hospital, Uganda Land Commission, and Equal Opportunities Commission. Then these 8 have the drafts in place, not yet finalized. Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Ministry of ICT, DPP, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Internal Affairs, and DIT. Issue number 4, MDAs to develop capacity development plans. This was for all MDAs, and so far 6 ministries have the capacity development plans. That is Ministry of Health, Uganda Heart Institute, Uganda Cancer Institute, Ministry of Water and Environment, Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, and Ministry of Finance. Issue number 5, Ministry of Public Service was to issue guidelines on implementation of structures for the regional referral hospitals, and the officer responsible, this was the Department of Management Services. The report is, this was issued. Number 6, MDAs should induct professional development committees, and those that have not yet submitted to do so. It was for all MDAs, and the status is 6 have so far done it: Ministry of Health, Ministry of Local Government, OPM, Ministry of Lands, Ministry of Water and Environment, and Ministry of Education. On the HR newsletter, which was supposed to be out by July 2023, there was a selected team for this. This has not yet been done. Then Ministry of Public Service was supposed to conduct research on salary disparity and its impact on staff performance. The Department of Compensation was responsible. The status is some work is being done in partnership with Makerere University. Issue number 9, Ministry of Public Service to report on the roadmap for RAPEX. The responsible department is Management Services. The status is implementation was extended to June 2024. Then issue number 10, Ministry of Public Service should ensure that there is seamless transition of staff during the redeployment to avoid staff missing salaries. The Department of Human Resource Management Systems is responsible, and the status is they continuously engage in change management every time they are onboarding a new entity. That is the status of the action plan. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I would request members that if there is any update related to any of the issues, we could point out, and that Secretariat can bring that update onto record. I also like if you members feel that you need some clarification on the status. For example, at the number one, the HR audit by Office of the Auditor General, status of progress says concluded. Concluded that thereafter, what next? I've been asked that question in some forums. People are wondering what was the purpose of the audit, what is the communication after the audit, what has been saved. Is there something we have just received the first budget called circular? Is there something cooking in terms of enhancement arising from the audit? Those are questions which have come up. I was just giving an example, but members, you are open to seek clarification and also to update on this data. Thank you very much. One-star general, begin.
Yes, Chairperson. Some quick ones. One, the issue of the salary survey by Makerere University. I remember the head of public service and secretary to cabinet launched a study. Same. I don't know whether it's not something parallel. It's time to be corrected. Number two.
Take note on the cloud.
Number two, for the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, the client charter was approved, signed by the minister, and it's beautiful. Number three, capacity development plan. As the contact person public service, I remember I had a discussion with him. I said, we submitted it. And among those who are before us, is my job safe? Number three, induction of professional government committees. We are ready. I think we should submit our request to Ministry of Public Service. Thank you, Chair. I beg to submit. Sophie, you are next.
I would like to remind the one-star general that there are some three-star generals here also. So who speaks next is chosen by the three-star general. But looking at who Sophie is and how she is looking at me, I concur.
Thank you so much, Captain PS. I want to comment on the client charters and in the spirit of generals, Chair, I wish to affirm that I'm half a star. General, if my boss is 1 star, I am half a star. So those who are quarter can prepare themselves to tell us that they are quarter general. On client charters, I wish to add out of oversight, there are votes we forgot to add. That is Uganda Cancer Institute and Botanical Hospital. So we can add them and we come to, that's what I put it. But also I wish to call on members, as at that time, we had requested that copies of those charters be forwarded to us for two purposes, statistics, but also to follow up on implementation of the client charters. And I'm still calling on members if they are entities which have completed their charters, kindly forward copies. And those which haven't yet completed, please let's expedite because these papers are expiring next year. So we are scared we may have expired drafts next year. So let us ensure that we have expired charters, not drafts. In case you need support, please call on us to support you to complete as soon as possible. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Sophie. The issue of expired, I think is a critical issue. But I also like to add and say, developing and launching a client charter is not rocket science. HR managers, you have done this over and over again. I know it could be a challenge of maybe gender over. I think let's finish and have this status in place. Thank you.
Yes, through Chair, the Uganda Law Reform Commission has a client charter, and I think I shared it with the assistant. We've had it for the last 5 years. Thank you.
Okay, update. Expired charter. So revisit and seek appropriate authorities. I think Sophie will assist to bring it to date from expired to real. Okay, can we continue? Comments, let's do next.
Thank you, Chair. I'm back on HR audit by the Office of the Auditor General. Chair, this activity came with a lot of other effects. One of them, we are told that we can't proceed with recruitment until this.
We use the alternative means of communication.
We are told that we can't proceed with the recruitments, even where we are submitted for clearance to recruit from MOBs. So really, Minister of Public Service should inquire. They report that my big concern was about recruitment in votes, where this activity affected us. Some votes are asked for clearance to recruit, but they can't be given, waiting for this exercise to be concluded. So when I saw there that the comment is, it was concluded, I think it is not yet concluded because the report, I think, has to be produced, and I don't think it will be a confidential document since the exercise was conducted within votes. Still, those votes have to be, I realized that we got management letters to respond to queries that were there. So let it be expedited. We get informed such that our normal activities, especially to do with the recruitment, can resume. Thank you very much.
Okay, Secretary, take note of that. I think the key desire is that there is communication on that item from the relevant offices. Okay, can we begin from the
Thank you, Chair. The Health Service Commission concluded on the client charter. It was approved by the Commission and the copy was sent to the Ministry of Public Service.
Okay, it doesn't hurt. I don't think there was only one copy. Send another copy for us to update the record. Thank you.
Chair and members, I just want to respond to what the ones again will raise on whether the survey that is proposed here does not contradict the works of the head of public service. Chair, we are aware that the head of public service doing something around motivation for public servants. And that does not stop us from doing a scientific study on the impact. And in any case, the head of public service started the work before the current enhancement. Now, the impact can only be established after some time. And I think we are okay with it. We shall still go ahead and do an assessment and establish the impact of the enhancement on performance and service delivery. You know, I think it was okay. Just to mention also something on the HR audit, which is going on, the payroll audit. The reason I think it was reflected as concluded is because I think many of the activities of the Auditor General are not now in votes, but there is still work that is going on. And as public service, a chair, you are aware that we have been interacting and interfacing with the audit team, specifically on the system. The systems that are managing payroll, HCM and IPPS. So there is still work in progress, and at an opportune time, we shall have the report, and it will be disseminated, and the right actions will be communicated.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Our neighbors' interest is, for example, the roadmap. The audit, the roadmap in terms of actions. I think your department needs to come out very clearly. Otherwise, there is currently a lacuna about what is happening and what is due to happen. And then ultimately, let's bear in mind that the studies are good, but people are saying after the studies what is coming. I think that's where they want to go. Otherwise, the reports, I think there was, Mr. Aruna is not here. There was another study conducted by Professor Munene. It also came out with a very good report and recommendations. I think it has gone up to cabinet. But people want the decision. The studies are good, but what do the studies inform? What do you bring from the studies to the table? The CAMESA. I think that's the interest. Thank you very much. Mr. General, I kindly beg that we permit colleagues who have not yet talked, then I will come to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Acting PS and colleagues. Now, looking through the minutes, I realized that the number of record issues should have appeared in the action log. Starting with page 5, point 3.5, where there was an issue about a cabinet decision requiring all heads of HR reported under secretary, and that there were discussions to be held with the minister. I would have expected that this is part of the action log so that members are updated about the same. Next is on page.
The discussions are still going on, so we can't update.
Nonetheless, that would be a status, Chair.
That is the update. The discussions are still on. Thank you.
And then on page 8, 5.21, there was an issue about some positions, the science cadre, that were reduced to that scale. And there was need for public service to give guidance to the votes in this matter. Also have expected status on that. Same is a subsequent bullet on clarification from OPS for the case.
Please take note of that. I think that relates to HCM.
Then the next bullet on unverified pensioners. Then on page 10, there was the issue under minute 6.
Okay. Take note of. the aspect of unverified pensioners.
Chair, on page 10, minute 6, bullet number 2, where it was agreed that the Institutional Assessment Department will take up the issue of guidance on the position of director. And that Student Assessment Department will take up this matter as part of guiding the service. They also have expected this to appear in the action matrix. And then the action matrix, point number 1, Chair, I think.
Do we have anybody from institutional assessment? Because we'll need an update on that. A number of actions have already taken place on that area. Take note and give us the update.
Then, Chair, for clarity, my understanding is that the Auditor General just focus only on the payroll audit. Imagine the HR audit is a much bigger assignment, so I would propose we restrict it to payroll audit because apparently that's what it was. I thank you, Chair.
Okay, colleagues, can I have the last two? Anne?
Thank you, Chair. Without appearing to be taking us back to action number 1 on the Auditor General's report. I think we've had this payroll audit, and from my analysis, this has no bearing on the money that we had planned for and projected for the recruitments. So we need public service really to guide and take a stand on this, because we are now towards the end of this month, September. Adverts have not been run, and yet facilities are really badly understaffed. And for instance, if we have to look at the individual votes, I can speak for my vote. At least I'm sure there is wage. The referral hospitals have money that was planned. So I just want to request that public service comes out clear on this so that we can now get clearances to fill these gaps. Otherwise, we have paid service delivery. Thank you.
Okay, conversation, take note of that, but I think I'm also aware that there is a blanket suspension on recruitment this year, apart from selective recruitments in terms of replacements and areas where you can justify on the critical areas, but conversation will elaborate on the issue. So is that the last one? Yes, nuclear energy. It should be the last.
Thank you, Chair. We just heard that the exercise on payroll audit is not yet concluded, but those of you who have read the first budget code circular, Minister of Finance has communicated that entities should not budget for staff who were not validated. And this really means a lot. And as public service, ministry responsible for the public wage, I think we need to consult and work consultation together with the Minister of Finance. And this should be collected in the second budget code circular, because number of staff were duly appointed in service, but we are not validated because of various reasons. So when you communicate and a statement like that we should not budget for them, I think they need to be guided. Chair is out.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Those are issues which have been raised. I've been mentioning the relevant departments, but I also am sure that Secretariat has captured some of these issues. But the departments which are available here and can give clarification in the next 3 minutes, can we get clarifications? Compensation, you have something to clarify? let's have compensation, let's have systems, Chris is available, and let's have HRPD, George is available. Can I have those three?
Yes, Chair, thank you, and thank you, colleagues. There are, I think, 3 issues for compensation to respond to. One is on unverified pensioners, and I think we have been admitting the pensioners who eventually get verified. And our guidance has always been that those who are not verified, but eventually you have assessed and they are there, they are living, they meet the requirements, you forward them to public service, and then we validate them and decentralize them to your respective institutions. So that should be the way forward. Those that are there, you have verified this, forward them to public service, we validate, and then we put them on your payroll. The other issue was raised by another one-star general, the HR audit, how it is affecting the wage that was approved. I think this is not a decision of Minister of Public Service. This decision was reached by a number of institutions and the position of government, including the Minister of Health was in the meeting, Minister of Finance, Minister of Education, because they were heavily affected. They had their money that was appearing approved under their budgets for recruitment. And the understanding was that the liability of government in other institutions was too high in terms of wage. And there was fear that the government would not be able to actually find wage to meet the liability in other institutions of government. So the agreement was that we first hold any additional liability in form of new recruitment until the HR audit is conducted and concluded. I mean, the payroll audit is conducted and concluded. And on the basis of the findings, we shall make another decision on whether to clear and whether the monies that are reflected under your respective votes as surplus will be maintained. So the position that is beyond Minister of Public Service, and colleagues, I know the pain, but that is the government position. Then the third one.
Mr. Bwire, can you also clarify and indicate to the audience that there is currently still selective clearance being done after concurrence between public service and Minister of Finance on critical areas? Yes, I think that is something which is currently happening, but there must be a clear justification and a concurrence between the two ministries that this recruitment needs to be fulfilled.
Yes, Chairperson, acting PS, you have communicated, and that is happening, I confirm. Then the recommendation that appears, I think, is a communication in the first BCC on not budgeting for the unvalidated staff. I think it is the first BCC just to put you on alert. Like that, those who have not been validated and are there can move faster and quicker. But I also know, and colleagues, you are aware that the final estimates on wage come much later. The IPFs for wage come much later, and I am sure all those that will have been validated even after the first PCA will be catered for. But it is a critical issue that we pick up, and we shall have discussions with the Minister of Finance on how to manage especially when these are put off, which is likely to be the case. Those who are mandated to be put off and are not likely to be budgeted for. I think we shall have a contingent plan. Chair is.
Can I have a clarification from Chris? Yes, James.
Thank you so much. Yes. The first case of science cadre, the word used there is reduced. Our system, we don't reduce. And where there were erroneous migrations, these have been rectified on case by case consultations, especially with Ministry of Agriculture. There are some science cadre who had been provided for in the structure as arts, but that was erroneous, and been able to correct those on case by case interactions. Now, in regard to the health centers, the next meeting on harmonization of the structures has been convened for today at 2 to bring on board all those positions that have been omitted in the structure, the structures that were shared with the health units and the regional referral hospitals, and to accommodate those that have been left out. The next meeting is today at 2 o'clock at the Ministry of Public Service. I think those are clear areas.
The question, George.
Thank you, Chair. Two things. One was capacity building. One Star General said he had some meetings. True, he brought. That was last HR meeting. We shared that example that we got to share with all heads of HR, and so we should be able to make it according to that. We shared again with the secretariats. We will be sharing. Because even the people whom we share with, they have not done. As you note, Chair, the statistics is about 6 MDAs out of several. So we are again going to share today. And then on professional development committee, the secretariat, he said those are the ones that we have done. But those are the ones that we have issues with. We still have issues because of their vastly and population in some areas. So Minister of Health, Minister of Local Government, OPM, lands, water, and education. They are still sorting out, they are handling some technicalities. So they have not yet given us their professional government committees, even some of them have numbers. Chair, also, I think I have to inform the team here that the Minister of Public Service has steward the service of a consultant who is going to move around to help us develop the professionalization strategy across all ministries and selected agencies. So we should move faster and conclude the formation and wait. But also request them that as the consultant comes in, they should take center stage to ensure they access all the information. Because we want to establish the standard of professionalization of all cadres and then develop a framework for professionalization and also a strategy as well. And we will also be training some selected ministries to orient their committees and also develop the champion team. So the better we move faster and conclude these issues of PDCs, the better.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, we have had very engaging discussions, and I'm reliably informed that you qualify for a break. I don't know whether it's a tea break or just air break. So I would request Secretary to guide us appropriately what break we qualify for.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair and Acting PS, but most importantly, Doctor. It is true, we have actually covered half of the agenda and we qualify for a break tea. So request I don't know with your guidance whether we are following the ranks, but as you said at the beginning, we are colleagues here, so you can freely move out in the corridor and take a cup of tea, beverages, and snacks. Because of space, we request that you come back here and have your tea of tea. Thank you, Chief.
How much time do we have for the break? Can we quickly estimate?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah, kind of members, we target to finish early. So let's have our break in 15 minutes. Please, you're welcome. Bon appetit. to quietly go down. I'm suggesting, and with your concurrence, that we have a working team. Time is not favorable to us. Do you concur? Thank you very much for that understanding. Before we go to the next item on the agenda, which will be the presentations on the key HR issues, I would still like to give opportunity to our colleagues who have not introduced themselves. Members, it is the chair speaking. I hear voices which are not permitted there. Can I ask our colleagues who have not introduced themselves to do so? And then we can move to the next item on the agenda. Please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Ingabire Annette is my name, Principal Human Resource Officer, Ministry of ICT and National
Welcome. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda James. I'm Assistant Commissioner, Resource Management, Department of Public Service Inspection and Quality Assurance. I'm also acting senior citizen. But lastly, I'm warming the chair for Commissioner, Public Service Inspection and Quality Assurance.
I think what James is saying is currently the acting commissioner for public service inspection and quality assurance. It's not just warm. Because if it gets warm, you will be the one to sit. I don't know who will sit after it warm. Okay, any other person who has come? Who has not introduced himself or herself? Can I permit, let's share the microphone. There are colleagues who have not introduced themselves. We need to know each other kindly.
Yes, good morning, colleagues. Tingo is my name. I'm Hoima.
I just hear the voice.
Sorry, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Joseph Tingo Openja, Principal Human Resource Officer, Hoima Referral Hospital in Hoima City. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Daniel Adilo, Deputy Director, Human Resource Parliament.
Morning, Chair and members. Tom Otuomo Baches, Senior Management Analyst from Department of Institution Assessment. Thank you.
My name is Owori Ufe, Acting Senior Human Resource Officer, Lira University.
Okay, colleagues, now we know each other. There's still one more there.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Biondo Badru. I'm a Principal Human Resource Officer of the Regional Referral Hospital. Thank you.
Badru, you're welcome. I would like to say that I'm happy with the turnout, but I think we are well represented. But I'm only wondering, with the colleagues from public service, I'm wondering what has happened to our retreats for HR. The number of issues which are coming up may not be exhausted in a meeting situation. I don't know whether I'm the only one wondering, but it is something for us to think. It felt good, it felt beneficial, it felt productive when we used to have the annual retreat for the HR professionals. I'm even wondering whether, Mr. Watulo, you'll clarify, when we meet with the heads of HR for MDAs, what happens? When do we meet with the heads of HR of local government? Because HR in local government has been baptized several names. The real issues are there. They have been called the gods. They have been called witch doctors. They have been called. So I'm wondering, when do we meet with HR of local government? The real issues are there, Mr. Wako. If you have any comment, I'm not saying you must comment.
Thank you, Chair. I may not have a specific comment right now, but what we, like you brought it up, we are picking it up. And as a department in charge of HR policy and procedures, we will see how we can rejuvenate it or bring it back, that we may organize these meetings with the HR authorities. So for now, let's just pick it up, and maybe we shall share details in the next meeting on what should be the way forward. Thank you.
That is a satisfactory comment. May I now ask that we go to item number 4 in the agenda and request Mr. Wafula to proceed and make the presentation on knowledge management policy. Welcome.
Yeah. Colleagues, will present on knowledge management policy. Yeah, I must also note that I'm a certified knowledge manager. Also,
or you say a certified knowledge management expert.
Exactly, you have seen. Okay. Yeah, also, I am the current president of Community of Practice Knowledge Management in Uganda. Yeah, you have forgotten.
Your Excellency, you are welcome.
So, arising out of that, before I present, allow me to share some knowledge. One, we have issued a letter on JICA scholarship for masters and PhD across the service through the universities. So in case you have received that communication, quickly share with the staff. The deadline is 30th September. So the capacity building plan we shared here, including universities and the Faro Hospital, you are part of this. Share with us those documents. It is about institutional and individual capacity. So it's a very important document that we should be talking about it as HR. In case you have a challenge, the other ministries that have done it, please, you consult them, consult us, and we have that document put in place. And then the human resource plan is going to be a must, because now part of HCM, we are rolling it out as HCM. And we will not be allowed to recruit without it. We are also sharing it today, again, that sample copy updated that has been downloaded in HCM. So be interested, the ministries that are incorporated, looks nice and it's easy to follow. So in case you don't get stuck, you can also seek knowledge from other colleagues who have done it. Having said that, let me now go to what I've been allowed to present this afternoon. I don't know that's all that. So as a Minister of Public Service, you all are aware of HR others, they already said you are ambassadors. We are contributing to the objective of strengthening human resource management. And so a number of instruments are being put in place to ensure that we are relevant where we are, and also be able to strengthen human resource management across the service. Now, okay. That's an outline. That's not a long presentation. What I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, we begin by defining what knowledge management is. Knowledge management is a cycle. It's a targeted, systematic, and integrated approach processes and practice of searching, acquiring, creating, sharing, applying, and capturing knowledge to enhance organizational performance. Actually, what we are doing here, we are now searching, we are acquiring, others are creating by writing, I can see. But what is important is to share when you go back, so that it is complete. If you don't share, it doesn't become complete, because everybody wants this information. And so it's an initiative that the government has brought on board to ensure that there is performance in the public sector, yes, and the people we serve. We as HR are supposed to be knowledgeable, but as well as our clients deserve to be knowledgeable. So the policy will guide all public services in Uganda to apply the knowledge management, their organizational context. Mark the word context, because we are unique as we are here and we generate various knowledge. So, but also foster the advancement of knowledge in their respective societal or sectoral responsibilities. And as public service, we are sharing in our sector, but you know, you come from various sectors where they need this knowledge. So this policy will support government agencies at all levels to ensure that generated knowledge and innovation are properly documented, analyzed, and widely disseminated for uptake and replication. Remember that over time, we have generated a lot of knowledge and experience. So we are looking for an instrument to see how do we get that knowledge in one place, and also duplicate it so that we minimize cost and time wasted. This it's not coming from blue, but when you read NDP 3, strategizes how Uganda will harness its agricultural production through a knowledge-based economy of science, technology, and innovation to improve the livelihood. I think the current budget we are running is about knowledge-based economy, something like that. So this all comes from the NDP 3. So we all appreciate how important it is, but we also acknowledge the challenge we have in our public service. The knowledge is there, the experience is there, but we don't have a system to harness that knowledge, and there is no system. So if you go around ministries and agencies, we have not put in place this, with the exceptions of Bank of Uganda, URA, and UNRA. They have something around knowledge management that they have. Therefore, it's important that as government continues to move towards better service delivery, individual MDAs and LD have obligation to change the way we handle business in society. I had the chair saying, HR and local government have been baptized several names. But also at the center, we have several names. I think we have to be more knowledgeable so that we can be on top of the game. So this policy will be supporting institutionalizing the NDP3 program and approaching enabling government to maximize efficiency across the public service by getting the cellulose of information that is across. We have a lot of information like I said earlier. So that's what we are intending to achieve. Why are we doing this? Minister of Public Service has considered knowledge management as a pillar of government effort in the continuous transformation process for better performance and service provision. Therefore, the policy strategy of being developed provides the robust framework to enable the public service harness its potential in adding value with its intellectual asset and enable institutional transformation. We all know that we recruit knowledge, and if you look at our HCM, we now call it human capital management system, and therefore meaning that with the trend we are taking, the factors of production, human resource is now at a higher agenda. The intellectual asset is now becoming an issue. If you don't invest in human resource, you cannot achieve. And that's what the whole globe is all after. And Uganda cannot afford to lag behind. Our policy goal is to establish a framework supporting the implementation of knowledge management in a defined and formal manner. I have already said that we have knowledge all over the public service organization and within you. But how do we really have it more defined? You had a chair earlier mentioning that people clean even their computer when they are being transferred. But how do we capture that information so that whoever is coming in does not have to create new knowledge that continue within existing knowledge? So our vision is that public service manages knowledge as a valuable intellectual asset. We want human resource to be given a high priority in terms of managing of the service. Our visions provide a framework for effective management of knowledge in public service. What are our objectives? We have a number of objectives. Our main one is to improve the effectiveness and the ability of the knowledge domain of the public services. That is our main objective. But one specific one, to have a framework in place to help us manage knowledge and then promote the culture of knowledge sharing. So when we come here, to be able to share knowledge and challenges so that we are able to sharpen one another. And I think I was working in the prayer earlier saying we have shared the sample for HR capacity development plan, but still people are having this. But I've opened up saying let's share knowledge. If there is anybody who knows how to do, we can do it. Not an exam. But we did manage. This is public service, we can share knowledge. So one promote the culture of knowledge sharing. But also capture and preserve institutional knowledge. Remember, knowledge resides in the people, but also knowledge resides in institutions. So we want to see how do we capture that knowledge systematically. Then promote continuous learning and professional development to leverage internal and external knowledge resources. You remember earlier on we were talking about professional development committees. We would like each of us to belong, all our cadres belong the professional development committee so that we can learn. And we want them to form a community of practice. If you are a child, can you meet and share? What the chair is saying, go for it, you can share knowledge. If you are planners, can you meet and share? But also learn from external world. Can you go for conferences and learn so that we are able to deliver services competitively? Let me ensure that knowledge resources are readily available, support the evidence-based decision making, effective problem solving, and improve the policy formulation. We don't want to make a decision out of the group. want to be guided by available knowledge. Then utilize the appropriate technology and platform to facilitate the effective storage, people and sharing. Of course, IT becomes very key in the cycle of knowledge management. What are our guiding principles? Of course, I've already said earlier, knowledge is managed as a resource and a service. We should not take HR or human resource for granted, because that is the game changer. We want to manage knowledge as a valuable asset. And then two, knowledge sharing and knowledge partnership are encouraged. We want to cooperate with people who know. That's what I've been encouraging, and share knowledge across department agencies, so that we have things, not good to sing about things 1 year, 2 years not being done. Yet there are people who are knowledgeable. We need to take advantage of that. And then digitalization, key driver. We want to leverage on IT and HCM, I think is timely. The HRP people are going to be there, and I think the selectors will be there, so that you go there and just click and you are guided how to do it and operate. So IT is going to help us solve our investment to be on IT. And then knowledge acquisition and localization. We want to be a learning organization, but at the same time also localize our context of our knowledge. We want to do things the way we understand them. We want to learn, but come and improve things within a Ugandan context. What can we do? We have our engineers, we want them to learn, but come and do roads. We have HR, we want them to learn, but also domesticate some of the best international practice, and we call them Ugandan practices. Not in a Ugandan way, but in a standard professional way. Then knowledge inclusion, we want our client to be knowledgeable. You will know that our clients are very knowledgeable with these social platforms. People are informed, no longer need to hide information, but also want to put it to them to read. People know how to process a report, how to handle this. People should read this thing, be displayed somewhere by having knowledge. Maybe you have screens everywhere, because somebody comes to us, somebody might have read. And then the quality of information, there is a lot of information in space. So we must be able to correct that information at all times. And then the international profile, we want to increase our productive index as a country. Remember, in East Africa, we are doing well in terms of productive index. So you hear of those funny saying that Ugandans are not competitive. I think when our team went to South Sudan, the Kenyans were being paid high because they consider the World Bank productive index. So we want to be competitive as a country, let's prove that we are knowledgeable. And indeed we are. So knowledge management, we are not going to create new systems. We want to integrate knowledge management already in performance management. We want to work closely with performance management. How do we transfer knowledge as part of the assessment area in the structures and processes? Every day you apply building the capacity so that we are able to be able to mainstream knowledge management. And then implementation is going to be the responsibility of all public service ministries and agencies. But this policy is implemented across. We are also proposing to set up a national competence center for knowledge management within this policy, so that we can be able to support MDAs to experts who will be at the national competence center. Then monitoring and evaluation for any policy to be effective and to know whether you are doing well must be having M1P. I did mention earlier, this policy will apply to all public sector institutions, the management of tasks
and experience knowledge acquired over time by individual within organization. And all government officials who include the political appointees, elected leaders across. Where are we heading with this policy? We are heading in this direction that the policy has been developed to introduce and sustain knowledge management practice as part of the public service transformation agenda. The experience there, the systems are there, but we want to share knowledge and do things to make sure our country evolve. And then promote effectiveness, efficiency, and grow knowledge value as an intellectual asset. And then the goal is to improve the effectiveness and sustainability viability of the public service. You will note inside and outside this room, most of the one-star generals, they are there last leg. And the conversation that has been around, say, how are we living the service? Because the quality of the quarter generals is a bit worrying. So the one-star, they are worried. So how do we transfer our culture, our behavior? If you look at the one-star generals here, they are very smart. They are traditional way of public service. And you look at our quarter generals, there is a way they casually put on, they don't mind. So how do we take that knowledge and pass it on to the service, and we maintain the viability of the public service? It's a very serious matter. Because if you go to areas, you find HR, they have been baptized several names. You find them and say, hey, are you an HR? Yes, I am. By appointment, but by appearance, they cannot there. Well, we did a little bit of the special analysis, and the fact remains, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a lot of wealth of knowledge, that's knowledge that resides in the people, inside the people. That's knowledge, and then explicitly knowledge that is within organizations. A lot of information. And then even when you go to files, years and then have all this information. But as long as that information is not translated into sharing and the application, doesn't make sense. The information is there. That's knowledge. Is the knowledge carried by experienced individual, one star, the service. But the way of getting that knowledge from them is what we are looking for to establish. So if we don't do something now, we risk losing very important memory when these officers retire. And this cuts across the service. We have engineers, we have doctors, especially who are retiring. And how are we getting that information back where we can be able to be viable as an institution? What is happening in the challenge is the lack of deliberate institutional culture to retain and to be used. When you take over, you don't even want to pull the person in taken over. You don't want to know what they were doing. But they had created knowledge. So we want to say, how do we improve the culture? We say information is retained and is well documented. There's no awareness among the staff about usefulness, non-existent upper management should recognize knowledge as an intellectual asset. And then lack of knowledge management system for capturing, finding, creating, sharing, transferring, and utilizing knowledge. And then, of course, the framework that we have put in place. So we have 6 thematic areas that we want to intervene. One is to form this policy and strategy. Our strategy is, I hope next time we meet here, we shall be sharing our knowledge management strategy. I want to complete with this policy and then we will share the strategy. And then change management, cultural change, and we will share the knowledge. And then building capacity of human resource and I think even the chair alluded on this area. And we want all HR to build their capacity in knowledge management. And Chair, I'm happy to announce that there are going to be some scholarships. Be beginning in January 2024. So, and we are in partnership with the MDAs where they have started this course. So our people, if we write, you nominate the right people who will go there and learn, and then they will become certified knowledge managers in the organization. Our target is around 300 human resources across the south. So knowledge management awareness, we hope to popularize it, enabling information technology, investing in IT, and then enabling people. Very important. No, you can be in a place and usually say, let me not share my knowledge. I want to see how we make it friendly so that we share knowledge. As usual, when you are developing a policy, you link it to the number of international, continental, and regional dispensation. And as a country, we have commitment towards improving life for Ugandans, and through strengthening means of implementation and utilizing the global partnership for sustainable development as per the UN agenda. Recent General Assembly of UN, knowledge on sustainable development, everything was about knowledge. And the UN has actually established organs to ensure knowledge is harnessed for development.
Mr. Fuller, let's try to wrap up in 5 minutes. Right?
Okay. So exactly, Chair, that slide is about linkage to knowledge to the national, continental, and regional. That slide, we are talking about the national areas where national policies, we have NDP3, we have the human capital development about increasing productivity. And that's you can only have it when you have knowledgeable, skilled, and exploitable force. So we want to develop this policy to support the NDP3 aspiration. And then we have come up with what for each ministry is great as a role. We have the Ministry of Public Service. We have MDAs, where you will grow what you are going to be doing. But we are going to share these slides before the end of this meeting. We have the Ministry of Finance. We have Ministry of Education, we have Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the roles they are going to play in this area. And then ICT, I told you we need available technology support. Then we are proposing the knowledge management committees in every ministry, but also at the Ministry of Public Service. And we have described their roles and responsibilities. And we have also described the role of responsible officers, what they are supposed to do. And we designated each ministry will have a knowledge management liaison officer. And at the one consultation, we had designated the human resource. Some people were disputing whether this is human resource people. But I think it should be our responsibility. Then we have obligations of government officials as far as. So we also came up with a possible funding areas when you are budgeting for knowledge management. We have to budget for capture and storage, where we can get that. And then, of course, there are procurement of tools that we have talked about, IT, trainings of human resource in knowledge management and having equipment. But of course, government will support this, and then the development partners, and then individuals. I'm also to invest get knowledge. So government, major sort of party, employers will make sure they plan for this, and then we have the government partners and individual officers who will also take interest in your professional development. We are proposing that 2% of our the current budget will go to the area of knowledge management, and then take other proactive measures through our development partners raise fund. I'm also proposing to create a special knowledge management fund so that us to be able to support the whole process and running it as a project. We have M&E framework that we are going to use to see whether we are achieving our target. And then, as usual, we'll have a review process of this policy after 5 years. We have also included a communication strategy, how this will be communicated across the service. This was presented the top management, I think, this month, and then they approved it for your information. So what we are doing now is throwing it back to you, part of it, before we take it to cabinet. Chair, I beg to submit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wakuma, for that presentation. Colleagues, I suggest that the issues you take note, we shall discuss after the next presentation. Can I invite Chris to take us through the uptake and utilization of the HCM? Kindly, Chris, do the presentation in the next 15 minutes. We are now discussions with our colleague.
Morning. Okay, so the energy should be there. Good morning once again. Your Excellencies, you were defined as ambassadors. So Your Excellencies, I'm happy to stand before you to speak to you about the update of XTM. And my presentation is not in PowerPoint, but in Word. It's a little analog. As you see my face, I'm not young. I qualify for early retirement. Okay, quickly, my name is Christopher Irama, Assistant Commissioner, Human Resource Management from the Department of Human Resource Management Systems. When we saw the invitation for this meeting, quickly as a department, we thought we should run into the database, sample a few votes, and just look at utilization. And we come here and challenge ourselves what it looks like since rollout. That is all my presentation is about. Our sample size was basically 10 votes from the first 60 in phase 1. So the launch was on 17, and that was the trajectory. From the first phase, we took 60 votes, and then phase 2, we moved on to 50, and then there's a batch 2 of that phase 2, where we again working on 50, and most of the central government votes are now on HCM. Now, to ensure business continuity, and this is where the issue has been. You're doing partial migrations, and the people are suffering. Every record is accounted for after the partial migration, where the vote has been cooperative. They know why the remaining records have not been migrated. But as always, sometimes we are too good and we don't tell employees the truth. Is it that the position is not in the approved structure? Are you really a scientist? People fear, they say public service. You are ambassadors. You must represent the interests in one day. If not, that becomes sabotage, in my opinion. Now, the goal live cross cutover plan has been for this the same for all votes. We come for an entry. Sometimes it's really tough to just have an entry where you people work. Even saying good morning can take 3 months. Yes. And then seeing your responsible officers as a part of your role there is to hold them. Please, you can't. You can't. That is not good. Now, data alignment, training of public officers, by the way, any number that you give us will be trained when we come to the board. If you give us 4 and you keep the rest away, we handle the 4 and we come away. We do TOT, training of trainers. We build your capacity as head of HR, like that you go back and you become a super user on the system. And then we migrate. We seek for clarification from you. But this one again is for those who are cooperative. Some people don't want those discussions. What we do with the excess people, that topic is not mine, it's yours. Testing and handover of the system and providing early life support. This one, we do it and you will testify. Now, the support we've been giving the votes is outlined there. We do TOT training, provide weekly webinars. I hope every Thursday you make time for that 1 hour to just sit and listen or contribute or make deductions from the topical issues that are presented. We also provide hyper support, but number 3 is we've created simplified videos, and I'll show you one here, which you can watch at your leisure and do self-training on your own. Now, the licenses have been paid for. Our issue has been, is there value for money, especially in terms of utilization? The benefits of HCM, I will not go through it, but our observation is that user engagement, we looked at the user engagement matrices, and then the login frequencies and utilization rates at those 6 spots. And if you look at those analytics, a significant number of users at the votes who have been migrated have actually never logged in. And this indicates underutilization, and we looked at these 6 votes. We began with the parent ministry. Total staff, 279. Those who have never logged in are 7. Some of them are in this room, I know them. Percentage not logged in, 25%. I'm using the negative side because the positive, we shall just be patting ourselves on the back and thinking things are okay. We moved on to Ministry of Local Government, 453. 373 have never logged in. These are chief administrative officers, town clerks of municipalities, who should be enforcing government direction. They have never logged in. I'm going to share this with you and you look at. This is local government. Okay? We moved on to Ministry of Health. The medics are here. 476 on payroll. 440. They've never logged in. Moved on to Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. 327. 96% have never logged in. Finance, let's clap for her. We need to learn what is it that they do differently. Only 72 have not logged in. And they are using the system and the modules. Ministry of Internal Affairs, only 3% have logged in. The other figure, I'm fearing what I feel. I will not. So what are the challenges? I think change management is something we need to take up very seriously, colleagues, and begin to accept that HCM has buried ideas. This language of we used to should not occur in the 21st century. Let's be flexible to pick up new things and roll on. Low resolution of issues identified by the rollout team. We come to a vote. We tell you that 60 of your pensioners, 60 out of 82 are not verified. We are giving you 2 months to verify. The 2 months elapsed, no action. Then how do you request for the interface files? You request a politician to call. Why haven't my people aren't? Non-adherence to saturated timelines. Payroll has been decentralized. Up to now, there are central government ministries that have not paid salary. For those of you that have paid, thank you. I was just watching the dashboard. Today is 27, and the statutory deadline is 28. People have not paid. Payroll has been decentralized on HCM. You can even pay on 15th. People have not paid. Changes in the HR users policy. The transfers are big and fast. Sometimes you enter offices and you find the wrong place after you say good morning. Good morning. Say, I'm a different person. I wish those who have been trained are considered such that when it's HCM, you take the person to HCM board for continuing. Otherwise, training would take, these people spend a month for the TOT training. And the handover, you saw under knowledge transfer, people even wipe out what is in the computer and go with the password to make it worse. The other is the issue of integrations. What's a big facing challenges with IFMIS, especially deductions? That is being fixed. We're having the vendors on ground tomorrow, and that should be fixed. Now, I have a few prayers before you. One is that as HR, let us mobilize and amplify the utilization and uptake of this system. We can't run away from it. Two, let's give up these accounts. Auditor General has made HCM, they were here for a special audit, and they have made HCM audit a mandatory field. These user accounts are created spontaneously for all your employees, and the user account is simple. It's an employee number with a default password. When we leave, we hand it over to the HR. My question is, why don't you hand over these passwords? Some of the employees call after we've trained them. Sir, it's 1 month down the road. We've not got the accounts. Where I come from, they don't pronounce H. They say the HR has not given us. The HR has not given us. And you layers for functional support. There are boards here which are really good. We speak with them over 10 times a day. Education Service Commission. They call DPP, they call until you have to pick up and help them. And we're always available. NEMA, they always get in touch. We sometimes leave at 9 p.m. just to support and ensure that the system is correctly used. But above all,
you give us feedback. The only way we can improve the system is through feedback. You say this is still lengthy. Can we correct? And then during the next, we pick business process improvement people from the various boards and we train them. And they give their feedback, we make those adjustments. So we cannot procrastinate further. We just need to be able to contribute the positive side. The procrastinations data is exposing us that our people are not logging in. So the food for thought here is, Mr. Chairman, why? But the why can partially be as we break. There are some people here that we need this special note or mention of. Iumbe, that gentleman, was migrated from a new regional referral hospital came. It never went to IPPS. That man would almost sleep at Ministry of Public Service with us. And when he went back, sir, he wrote a concept note to one of the non-government organizations there. They gave him, when we went there for the go live, he had 100 computers stuffed in such a room for HCM use. And at the time, he had 121 employees. That is a standout. In Soroti here, Soroti Regional Referral, even nursing assistants are using tablets. I don't know what they did. Nursing assistants are using tablets. Under the trees, you see people swiping and logging into HCM. So I think something can be done when you look at those, because I don't have the pay for the internet, but every ward has a computer. When you say log here, people say we're already there. You say log here, that means the other side of it should be able to come up. Now, I wanted us to just try this. I think so. On that, HTTPS help takes here. It has a number of videos that you can watch with your HR team. They are here. And you train yourselves. You don't need a trainer to stand before you. It's available. It's on internet. I will just sample one on the Employee Information Manager and play it for you.
By the Employee Information Management counter self-service point. In short, we can refer to this module as the purpose of the IM is to maintain employee profile information centrally in HCM. So this employee information from the what the purpose of the employee profile is displayed in the employee information page. The personal details like the displayed by the board still display the employee's status from government. While treatment for profile just become profiling it, it's going to profiling it on the video because the file button at the bottom of the page. You will make the readjustment according to your preference. You can down button to update the profile details, navigate to the workstation details, and that displays the employee's workstation details. Please note that the employee's workstation details cannot be updated from the self-service form. Navigate to the assigned details tab and display the employee's account details. Please note that the employee's account details cannot be updated from the self-service portal. Navigate to the contact details tab and display the employee's contact details. Please note that only the fields under the section permanent records and quantitative records can be updated. Navigate to the other details tab. It's display the employee's general details. Please note that the employee's other details cannot be updated from the self-service portal. Navigate to the other links tab. It's displays the links to the other sections of the area. You may click on the reset button to reset the changes made to the employee information profile. Click on the save button to save the changes made to the employee information profile. Please note that your profile will now be recorded as something.
That brings us to the functionality. These videos are available. It's just the availability of internet, and that is the link. You train yourselves. And also, my prayer, Chairman, finally is all HRs at site should be users on this system. We've not had many sites that do not delegate. Head of HR is doing everything. These modules are 19. You will die of fatigue. You can't do this work alone. Bring on board others and let them help you to make updates under the different modules. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. You have just demonstrated the power of knowledge and knowledge management. And colleagues, I think you're being given tools to make you powerful. I remember there was a time when planners, I think planners in local governments were the most powerful officers around. Everything that had to be done, you had to look for a planner. One time we went to one of the local governments and we wanted some information. And the planner, they traveled, they got a vehicle. I think it was for the cow, for the chairman, specifically to go and look and bring the planner. Why am I saying this? The public service systems under HCM are the game changer. If you have heads of HR who are not familiar with the HCM, you better join me in going out of the service. And you can make yourself very powerful if you are very familiar with the this system and information. So today's presentations, if I can summarize, are about empowering you as heads of HR, such that when you talk, they know HR has spoken. I think Chris was saying in some dialects, they cannot even pronounce HR well, so I don't know how they pronounce it anyway, let me not attempt. So colleagues, I would like to open, we go for a plenary discussion. Raise issues. The two presenters are very familiar with the field in which they are talking about. You had Mr. Wabula, is also a president. So I'm supervising a president, you can imagine. So Chris, often his office is near mine. When I get issues about HCM people inquiring, even if they have come to my office, I just tell them, you hold on a bit. Then I cross to Chris. And after Chris has explained, I come back roaring now also. Roaring HCM and that I'm also part of the system. So can we discuss openly? One star general, can I begin with you?
Thank you, Chair. Let me add my voice to yours. I think these are knowledge experts. I must commend you for the presentations. There's what we normally call expert of knowledge management, lecture of opportunity. What do we do here? In the UPDF training schools, academies and colleges, we normally invite subject matter specialists to come and share the knowledge they have. At times we even invite the president, we invite permanent secretaries. I think it's not too late for us also to harness the knowledge of senior citizens in HR, like Nyoka Primo, Thomas Job, and others. Come and share with us. Number two, I want to appreciate what you also presented. Knowledge management is what you call lessons learned. If you can mainstream lessons learned, there's a lot to learn from that experience. Normally, the military has, after every activity, sharing of knowledge and so on, there's one thing they normally do. After action review, AAR. What went right, what went wrong. I think that's a good aspect of knowledge share I beg to submit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And I have the ICT group.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Mr. Ofla, for that elaborate presentation. Mine is on acquiring knowledge as a continuous process and highly dynamic in this digital world that we are living in. What mechanisms are you putting in place to keep the users of this policy up to date?
Can I have more? Let me have about 5 and then our colleagues can respond.
Thank you so much. I'm very appreciative for the presentation on knowledge management because it is very important for the institution that I am representing, where I have very many clever people. And it has now also become a teaching hospital. And we're in the process of formulating a research and ethics committee. And part of its objectives were actually also part of the knowledge management committee. So in the presence of that research and ethics committee, and also the training committee, shall the hospital again need to form a knowledge management committee? Thank you.
I have another one. I am also follow them.
Thank you, Jaja. Thank you, Mr. Wakula, for a quite informative presentation. I note that the knowledge management policy is yet another service delivery framework or mechanism. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that we have several service delivery frameworks. And in between there are some other overlaps. For me, I think the problem is that whereas we have several policies, very knowledgeable officers, quite educated, the problem is translating there's a gap between knowing and doing. And I think we need to have deliberate effort to address that gap. We're talking of committees, soon we're having a particular committees. But I think we need to have effort that what we know is translated to something doable. Thank you.
Can I have another one before we can allow the team?
Thank you very much, Chair and Acting Peers. I want to add my voice to the others and thank the two presenters. I have just a simple comment on the presentation on HCM. While we have seen that the phases 60, 50, 50, and so on, we have not seen a comment on how many votes that the central government or local governments have won on HCM, because started 2021, now 2023. So what are the challenges of the votes which have not yet gone on HCM, and what is being done to address those challenges? I'm one of those. My vote is not on HCM. I would like to go on HCM. And so how are we addressing the challenges that are affecting full implementation? Thank you.
Colleagues, could we permit the two presenters to quickly respond to those 5 issues raised, then I will take the next part. Is that okay? Okay, permitted. Quick responses, then we shall take the next part.
Okay, thank you. The Consul General was more or less honest, which we can incorporate as we conclude the policy. Military learning skills here. Mechanism to ensure that people cope up with the IT world, building capacity. And we have documented very well, because the area of knowledge management, no knowledge become obsolete. So we have to continue building capacity. It's training. That's why when we're giving costing, we say capacity building. That's the routine. I think Sorority that already have the committee in place. That's good enough. That will require you to make it, to rebaptize it when the policy is fully approved. So continue. We are going to share with you this document by the way. And I request that you, these were slides. The policy is a bit detailed. When you get it, read through and also give us the feedback and written. It will be great, because already you are going on record as people who have participated in the formulating this policy. Of course, I agree with the Sanya. People know, even here we know what the problem is doing. That is the courage I want to change as we implement this policy.
Thank you. Before Chris comes in, I wanted to give a quick guidance on the number of committees which are coming up. I think our top management, when receiving this presentation, proving them, indicated that we can have one committee which has various functions, not necessarily each committee to be separate. I think there was guidance to the effect, I don't know whether we talked about human resource committee with various functions. Apart from knowledge management, there are other frameworks and strategies which are on the pipeline, including talent management, talent and succession management, which also talk about committees. But I think one committee, an HR committee with various functions, can ably do. And as I mentioned, don't fear the functions increasing. It is about empowerment of HR, making HR relevant, or more powerful, but powerful not in a negative way. There are situations where people have used the power negatively, like HCM. Example becomes knowledgeable and in HCM and powerful. Any disagreement with the person says, you wait until you come for HCM, you will see. So I would like to encourage that we use power positively. Why am I emphasizing this? When you are empowered, do not begin saying this district or this ministry can be nothing without me. If they can't pay salary, they can't pay what, because of the knowledge that you have. And the important thing is that knowledge which is not shared is not knowledge which is managed. You should be able to share knowledge for the benefit of the organization. Thank you. Chris?
Thank you so much, Bernard. Currently, we have 105 sites on HCM. Now, what are the challenges? Our challenge is summarized under the data quality at these boards. On IPTS, we have people with futuristic dates of birth. 1st July 2029. They are here, they are serving. They're on the IPTS. We have people who have been put on IPTS in positions different from their appointment letters. They have been hidden to salaries that are equivalent. We have people in positions that have been appointed. We have people who do not have files. And not one, a voter, you will find there are 200 missing. So you cannot proceed. We have challenges of wage mischarge. Votes have 5 charge codes. They spend according to charge code. When they finish in quarter 1, they move to the other. That type of accounting. We have people who have reached retirement age, but you find they're still somehow on payroll and not on contract. And then we have situations where you go to the vote, having finalized the migration, you find 98% of the employees do not have contract actually. We can't proceed. So those are the practical challenges that hold us back. Now, when we make the work plan, it is flexible to requests. And you don't lie anywhere. You're already among this 105. What is delaying you? You know them. You need to liaise with your support team, Mr. Noah, and you'll find you lie as State House, you lie under some of these challenges, and we cannot proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris and George. Colleagues, sometimes the change requires hard decisions to be taken. To operationalize and effectively use HCM system, we often want to do, what is it called? A dual system, a hybrid. We want to do analog and the system and all that. And let me give you an example. Performance management module. In public service, we, the commissioners, were all convincing and insisting to the PS that we have completed our performance agreements in hard copy. Can you sign them? And she signed. But later, one afternoon, we were invited for a meeting at the HCM, or I think command center or something with the PA. And when we went for the meeting, we were told nobody is living here until you have finished entering your performance agreement into the system. And the PS is seated there, she will acknowledge that she has received that's when you leave. People who ended up were leaving at 9 o'clock, but it had to be done. If you wanted to leave, you had to do it, and we did it. And after that experience, I came very much charged to my department. I was there. I was telling them, I don't want any agreements now, hard copies. You must all be in the system. And they had to do it. So ultimately, some things are hard, but when you create a situation which is unavoidable, at the end of the day, it benefits everybody. Now, all of us, the heads of departments, we are very sure that our performance agreements are already captured in the system. When we go to check the system, it is there indicating that they received and acknowledged by peers. So we wait for the assessment period. That is the hard way to do it. Can I have more contributions? Yes, my colleague whose name is a district head. Somali.
Thank you so much, Acting PS. I'll start with the knowledge management. It's a good idea, and I saw that it is both for institutional and individual. And there is also the issue of continuous professional development. I'm looking at this as kind of an area which we all value, but then I think government itself is dealing with it because it's basically about also training. But when it comes to budgets, where you're also telling us that we should budget for it, that is where funds are cut. I think for the last 3 financial years, we have not been releasing money for what? For training. So how are you going to hold individuals responsible for not developing themselves? Because we don't have money, even the salaries are low. So where will I get money to go and train myself? Much as I would have wanted, but also the economic status is also not good. So I think we need to first do something about protecting funds for training. And this also brings me to the issue of the caliber of the half stars compared to the 1 stars who are going out. The 1 stars were lucky that for them at that time there used to be training opportunities. You know, it was a compulsory for you to get this postgraduate diploma. It was paid for. I think we used to have we used to call trainings in UMI. At least every quarter or every year, one individual would undergo that, but they are not there. And during those sessions, that's when they will tell us how we are supposed to behave, how we are supposed, like you're saying, someone is a lecturer but doesn't act or dress or behave like a lecturer. Because we are not telling them, even when they come for induction. I even don't know whether those inductions still emphasize what used to be emphasized before. Our times they will tell you that there is always one commissioner at the time. Remember that time it was Commissioner Nasi. And therefore you would look at the commissioner, yes, but nowadays these officers down there, that you actually they're even better than the commission, you know. So I think we are not grooming. The 1 stars are not grooming. Let me also maybe say the half stars are also not grooming those below us, like you were groomed. So we should be blamed for that. So these workshops which you call Expo, always prepare something also to grow, you know, to grow people in what they're supposed to grow into public service. So this also brings me to the issue of principles, the principles which you enumerated there. 11 principles, I think there are so many principles. I also saw where you put in as a principle implementation. Implementation cannot be a principle. You also have monitoring and evaluation under principles. I think we need to review those principles and pick out what are really principles, and the rest can go into maybe the narration. On the issue of human resource capital management, yeah, Minister of Works is one of the pilot sites. I don't know how we are doing, but I think we are doing well because for us, our performance management is all done on HCM. And this year we are purposing all leave must be managed on HCM. We are only waiting for those reports too, which are supposed to be aligned properly. But when Chris was responding, he came up with issues of where we have inaccurate data on HCM, where someone's date of birth is 19-0, maybe 20, or 30. That is an error of public service. And I expected that when you're presenting to us the challenges, you would also indicate challenges that public service is facing. Because the data capture was done by your team. We gave them files, they went ahead and got the wrong data. But now you're saying that that is part of the institution. No, I think public service should also clean up. I remember in our institution, we still have them actually during the audit of the payroll. They brought all those issues, but we have people who are born in 2025. So, and therefore, please, public service, maybe you need to be keen. The names were miscaptured. You find someone was given the spelling was changed. So please, that one should be an error, but on the site. The second one is on the slow response by public service. The rate at which you respond when we write, you don't respond timely. Though you are saying that we should be calling and what, but I also think that it should not only be about calling, because we'll not spend the whole period. For instance, for us, it took us about 1 year to stabilize. Yeah, because even up now we have pensioners who are not yet on payroll. Those who are, especially the estates, they were dropped in March 2022. Up to now, they have not been put back. So I think also the response.
Summarize and allow colleagues.
Yes, Chair, this is the last one on the issue of retirees being on the system. Yeah, I thought one of the objectives of having HCM is to help us deal with such people. Why should the system still allow someone who should have retired in 2014 to be on the system and they don't have contracts? So I think the system should also help us to weed out such information.
Thank you. Miriam, can we have Miriam? Then we go to behind.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is actually on HCM. As you are aware, Kawempe Hospital is still operating the structure for 2019. We are not among those who are given new structures. And with the introduction of HCM, we are still facing a few challenges. For instance, we have positions which exist on our establishment, like a principal analytic officer who is a new student and is a diploma holder. But on the HCM, the principal analytic officer is a new too and a degree holder. And then we've been given an option of referring such people to the Ministry of Health for redeployment elsewhere. But at the same time, we are also facing the challenge of severe shortage in the hospital. Actually, we have requested for clearance to fill those critical positions, and we are waiting for a response. So I'm requesting for guidance on how to handle such a person, because he cannot be accommodated on the HCM because he's a diploma holder, and yet referring him to the Ministry of Health at this time may also be a problem. Then secondly, there is an issue which the Assistant Commissioner, Mr. Chris, hinted about on people who have different salary scales on appointment letters and on HCM, only they are different. Now we have a case in point of theater staff theater staff, senior theater assistants were appointed in U6. But the HCM provides for U5. Theater assistants were appointed in U7, but the HCM has them, but in U6. I'm seeking guidance actually on how to handle such issues in the face of staff shortage in the hospital.
I hope, Miriam, you are invited to the meeting at 2 o'clock because those are sector unique issues. Let us move. Our colleague there, then we come in front. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I've got one remark for Mr. Wafula. An inquiry. In your presentation, I didn't hear anything to do with regulatory impact assessment. Was it undertaken? Because that is a requirement when it comes to policy development. And in case it was not done, then we are going to have issues with cabinet secretariats. Then on HCM, a request to the presenter that please, in any case where you find that a vote has got issues when it comes to manual personnel files, can the Department of Records and Information Management be brought on board? Because we've got the capacity to follow up. At one time, we had an issue with the Lila district local government. We went to the extent of requesting for the actual names affected, but we did not receive to confirm because we had remarks that the over 150 files were missing. But we found out, but instead they had just been, I think, misplaced within the cabinets. So can we share information as soon as possible so that we can support? Because the department is currently working with the Ministry of Local Government under Performance Improvement Program. June, July, we went around the entire country. All local governments were covered. So we would have been able even to tackle such areas if we were involved. Then, furthermore to HCM, there's something I also expected from the presentation on challenges. We are having issues to do with the records assistants who are being dropped as HCM is rolled out. And specifically, I can call out Minister of Local Lands. These are issues which are affecting the MZOs. And I think there is need for us to work together with management services, institutional assessment, within even local Ministry of Public Service to ensure that that problem is sorted out. Now it's a serious challenge. There are people who are not earning the salary as we go. Thank you.
I see that the issues are still coming hard and thick. Can we limit to about 2 issues per individual so that we can cover adequately?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to presenters. Mine goes to it's a contribution to the knowledge management. For the case of culture, I think we HR people in our respective organizations, we can as well be part of this in regard to the culture. For instance, you'll find that knowledge sharing is very not encouraged in institutions. So we need to have our policies whereby we can be able to come up with knowledge management policies where we ask the supervisors to share knowledge. And you ask me how. For instance, you find a manager when he goes for leave, for instance, he has to be called back because the people below him are not mentored and coached. So I think in our policy, we need to have those components of mentoring and coaching in order to enhance succession planning, so that if you're a manager and you don't have people below you who can do the work,
when you are on leave, then when you are assessing your performance, it can be affected. So my colleagues, I think we should be part of this so that we can be able to start from our institutions to support knowledge management policy. Thank you.
Okay. If it's Celia, let's have Celia, then we'll come in front.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, presenters. Mine is in regard to HCM. I'm Celia from Ministry of Internal Affairs. HCM regarding the percentage of user utilization. We accept that we have erred in one way or another, but I'm here to make a commitment that in the next meeting, Ministry of Internal Affairs will have pulled up a good percentage.
We have numbers, good percentage, could be 20. Celia, give us a number so that we capture it in the record for accountability purposes.
70%.
Okay. Thank you. Can I? Let's come here.
Thank you so much, Chair. I have two concerns, and one is about HCM. Thank you so much, Chris, for the support. You will agree with me, like what Madam Sakara said. Most of the things were the challenges I see under IPPS, and this pushed us to move more or less in a slow pace. For instance, you should do the mismatching of names, dates of birth, structures that are not aligned, where you find that some positions are overfilled. We want to appreciate public service, especially the issues of the structures. You have really supported us. But the issue of pension file, especially to do with estates, we still have a challenge and we need your support. And why do I talk about this? Different constitution the challenges, Mr. Chair. The office I come from, we work, the staff there are more or less the pressure group. We don't pay them their salary, they take it for them. So I'm of the view that we need to support these institutions, bearing in mind their uniqueness. We are handling the issue of coding procs, and the Minister of Public Service, maybe to fasten the process, you can get this coding procs to Minister of Finance. But let us well know where we come from. Thank you. Then another thing is on the knowledge management, and my concern is about partnerships. The presenter talked about Nakawa. My concern is about why have we left out UMI and our current institutions were put in place to support public service. Then second, still on knowledge management, if a person maybe took an initiative to graduate or get a course or master's or to graduate, what incentive is attached to this post? Secondly, or thirdly, still on the same, does this knowledge management cut across all the cadres? If we're talking about prosecutors, if we're talking about doctors, if we're talking about engineers, and how are we positioned it to the job specification as per public service? The last one goes to the client charters. My sister is here. Office of the DPP worked on our client charters. We wrote to public service for guidance, but I can never inform the meeting through you, Chair. The public service had to meet. Until we got back. Then when this answered last week, they are not, they are still playing us. when I will meet him, the community is not enough. So for me, I'm of the view, my comment is that we need to be supported because somebody said even the reviews are going to expire, the drafts are going to expire. But let all of us share the blame because at least I'm very sure, and I was part of the committee, when top management approved, we submitted to public service and we have given new copies. Thank you so much, and we are looking forward to that support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. Once again, may I remind that we go maximum, not a minimum of 2. Maybe my English was not clear. A minimum of 2 comments to allow other colleagues. A maximum of 2 comments. I was again going back to minimum. And there's a maximum of 2 comments to allow other colleagues also. Can we come?
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for the presentations. Mine is an inquiry on the professional development committees. The commissions with respect to the Education Service Commission. For us, we have staff that are transferable, that are cross-cutting.
And we hardly have the technical
cadres. So for example, the HR cadre belongs to Ministry of Public Service. So I'm inquiring whether with such organizations, they also pick a representative that will join Ministry of Public Service, that will join the HR cadre, Professional Development Committee. I only saw a letter that was written to us where they requested us to nominate a secretarial cadre. So in that respect, what happens to the other cadres that are in such entities? We only have 2 officers, that is the Commissioner Education Services and the Assistant Commissioner Education Services. The rest of the cadres are transferable, other than the officer tenants and the drivers. And also what happens to the support staff, the U8 staff. Are they represented or not? Then the second question, the second area is on knowledge management. Some entities have capacity development or capacity building sessions. I want to believe that that is one of the ways of sharing knowledge. But what demotivates many staff is that sometimes when they are sent for training, when they come back, they give in their reports, they expect to see that what they have learned is shared and it's also actualized. What effort is that the government making to ensure that what the officers learn out there and gladly bring back is actualized? Maybe that's when we shall get motivated more and more to ensure that we share the knowledge instead of scraping it off the computer and going with our knowledge. Thank you.
Okay. Can I have the 2 colleagues here? And then I think we shall close with the Chancellor of the University of Understanding.
Thank you, Chair. I have about 2 or 3 observations for
just take 2 critical ones.
Okay. Okay, but allow me first of all to appreciate the monster HCM. It has really made the work of HR very, very simple and easy. However, coming from coming from one of the public.
You are wondering whether to pay us. And we have prepared, because the re-engineering skills and making work is a critical achievement. Thank you. Coming from one of the public universities, I noted one thing. One is, I don't know if there is a system implementation policy of this HCM, because when we look at HCM, the many functions that are in HCM sometimes is conflicting with our university policies. Take an example when it comes to performance management. Performance management in the system could be done quarterly, but our management says no. For us, we do send annually. And then when we say, let's have this system implemented, they say, no, for us, we should we just say fill and do it manually. So you find that where do you stand as an HR? You stand this side of the system or you stand the other side of management. So that is a challenge. And also, even when it comes to recruitment, you have some policies which say maybe the VC has prerogative to appoint, but in public service does not entertain temporary appointment. These are some of the areas to be harmonized. Two, I have staff that have not been migrated on HCM, and we were taken as a pilot, and I've been paying this staff outside HCM. I would like to plead that in the next month, at least they be put on the system so that they feel at par with the rest. Lastly, Chair, we were issued with harmonized salary structure, and there are some salary scales that were abolished and some salary scales were uplifted. Those staff have been demanding that their arrears for harmonized salary be paid. Up to today, that structure has not been uploaded to enable us to pay them the harmonized salary scale. It is also at this juncture that I would like to be helped, because I do not want to where people are going to eat me alive. They would eat me dead. Is better. And I'm fearing where for our salary, because they are pointing at the human resource that is not liaising with the public service so that they are paid their new salary, because the money is available. Thank you. Okay, on the last one, I think there were guidelines issued on how to implement the harmonized structures for public universities. I hope you received those guidelines addressed to all the species. I hope the process has already gone through your appointment board. I hope you have also done a validation exercise. And until the appointment board clears that and council approves that, there is no basis for you being eaten live or dead. Just explain the processes which are ongoing. Can I have the two? That microphone is working, quite switch it on.
Thank you, Chair. HCM.
Mr. Kagwa, you still have something to? If you have, keep around. Otherwise, I will hope step jump you to another area.
Thank you, Chair. I wish to appreciate the Public Service Ministry, especially the HCM team, because the university went live and without the tenants care challenge which the presenter mentioned, we also face the same. Like 4 months, 5 months down the road, out of 3,000 staff we have on government payroll, I think this month only 42 have not migrated to HCM. But all this has been achieved because of the constant engagements with the team in public service. And we have also further engaged them and called them to our offices to ensure that it comes happen. So I applaud the team that has made us what we are. The issue that I want to raise is also my fellow colleague from the other university has mentioned it, was that at the time when we implemented the HCM, when we migrated the HCM, we also had this issue of harmonization of nomenclature, job grading, and structures in the public universities. Much as you said that we received the guidelines on how to implement it, but of course we also look at the public eye, our stakeholders, especially staff, and they have their associations. Most of the jobs, especially for support staff, were upgraded from M20 to M15, and the difference is much. From 800 something to 1.3, they are looking at it as if it is good money for them. So yes, we moved to HCM, but the new approved structures, which even council recommended and public service approved, they have not been implemented, but they have, our associations have engaged public service, they have engaged the Ministry of Finance, and even at the close the financial year, we gave our estimates that if we are to implement the harmonized structure, this is what we need. Public service and Ministry of Finance captured the financial implication. When the financial started, there was nothing. Even the communication you mentioned, which Public Service Ministry PS communicated, said implement within the guideline. We implement within the financial budget you have. And if they knew that we didn't have. So our request is, as you are engaging with them, because you have known they only come to your offices. Kindly also, you need to engage us, let us also help to organize it. Stand in respect to this harmonization and HCM, because last week we had a meeting with them and continue engaging them, but it seems as if the universities are not implementing the harmonized structures. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair.
If you are not using your microphone, kindly switch it off.
On knowledge management policy, Chair, I note that this is a policy which should not have the nitty-gritties, but I also realize that there are issues that probably we must point out in this policy. One of them is the information of confidential nature, because this policy should be able to clearly categorize confidential information and information that is for general public and for other public officers. Chair, on linkages with other policies, I did not see issues to do with the Access to Information Act, which could be a good linkage. And also, as the presenter was presenting, he hinted on issues to do with code of conduct and Uganda Public Service. I did not, standing orders, I did not see those ones. Chair, lastly, this policy to me would majorly focus on issues to do with behavior, habit, manners, ethics, delegation, and succession planning policy guidelines in public service. I hear some members talking about formal education that should guide in helping us for further studies or sharing after that. Sharing is okay, but to avoid mixing the training policy and the knowledge management policy, the formal trainings would be less talked about in this policy. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I come from a board which is experiencing the challenges mentioned by
they affect our role in HCM. The Ministry of Public Service launched HR clinics some time back, but because of the unique situations we are in, especially chair in the University of Understanding, spread countrywide, the command structures. I'm appealing to the Ministry of Public Service to extend the clinics to the institutions, especially with unique challenges, so that we are able to share both as ambassadors and the practitioners into those issues, so that we forge a way forward. Otherwise, we are all committed to being on HCM, but because of those circumstances, we are not able. I'll give an example. You find because of security issues and others, we come on board not really following the structure. We have people recruited, and then we work backward to have them uploaded on the system. Now, when you have to say for us to do recruitment of warders, cadets, we must first do this ABCD. They say, go away with your public service procedures and what. But when you do visit us and really listen to the institutions, then you can really give us a proper guidance and support. I submit.
Colleagues, I see we are running short of time. And then also, I see Pavlov's experiment ongoing. For those of you who are scientific. So, Madam Sophie, if it is too urgent, just the final one, then we permit our presenters to respond.
And I am proposing to HCM team, maybe we can consider for uniformity to have everybody on the system. We can consider having those cycles as well, where we have quarterly reviews for those who are eligible, then the midterm for the universities, and then we also have timely reviews, as in terms structured for primary schools. So we could have those three. Then, Chair, the last one is a response to DPP on the client charter. My brother here says that he's very sure public service start on the client charter of DPP. I wish to affirm that public service has no interest in sitting on the client charter of ODPP. Because in fact, when ODPP doesn't have a client charter, we are the first to feel the pinch. It underworks on our assessment. So public service did not sit on the client charter of ODPP. Interestingly, we have written twice to ODPP guiding on that matter, and ODPP says they have not seen that write-up. But also we have met somebody from ODPP and guided on what to do to that client charter, and even gave timelines. What I expected Joram to tell us today is what has been done since we last met the officer from ODPP. So I just needed to be on record that we have not and we don't have any interest. We are waiting for you to tell us following the support.
Okay, so
what happened.
So this is fire.
Okay, clarity is good and important colleagues. The sitting is of course taken figuratively, but ultimately let's help each other achieve what we want to achieve. Colleagues, and that's why I say that the Department of Policy and Procedures needs to begin thinking
in terms of when do we have a retreat? Because these half-day meetings, there are still issues, quite a number of them, which people would like to express, but time is not permitting. I will quickly read through. There is the principle of inclusiveness. I have received some issues which had not been captured by speaking, so I will quickly read through for the concern of the presenters and the secretariat. The number one issue is the heads of HRM in other public services should be categorically included in the invitation letters for these meetings, please. Public universities, I'm surprised some managed to come, but there are other public services. Our colleagues need to belong and need to move together with us. Need for each of these functions to recognize and reward outstanding entities and the heads of HR that have successfully complied with implementation guidelines such as the merging initiatives, which we talk about. This will promote the transition process for successful change, management, and commitment of us to a transformation agenda. I agree. I would have felt as acting PS the honor to award, but that has not been arranged today, so I've missed the opportunity. Those who are responsible next time, I think these awards can be very, very good. We can have HR head for the quarter. Let us begin there, small, and make people feel that they are doing something. Otherwise, sometimes the HR work is a thankless job. You're always between the hard place and the rock. So I think let's begin taking that into consideration, financial implications notwithstanding. We need to have an adequate head of HR meeting to review and have more inputs into the discussions that were made during presentations for the HR bill at Hotel Africana. There's a lot that needs to be addressed by the Minister of Public Service. Secretariat, take note of that. Deployment. We have a deployment policy, but we don't have a deployment committee. Is this a deployment committee in Ministry of Public Service? And the deployment schedule was abandoned. It's now shared at individual level. The policy needs to be reviewed. Those are observations, policy and procedures. Take note that people need to be deployed in a group like goats, and they all feel a sense of fairness. If you pick one goat alone, it feels very lonely. So those are the issues which can be picked. Can I allow George and Chris quickly to make responses? And the members, let's bear in mind, make responses quickly. It looks like, or I smell like our lunch is ready.
Yes, Chair, is ready. Somebody, thank you so much. I take note of that, but Chair, something we must take on, and I know you were chairing an ad hoc committee on training. This is a very serious issue, cutting funds for training that we can add as public service. I know there are a bit of hopes under the review of the training policy, but I think it is you to take it on and we escalate it.
Yeah, just mention the update on the review of the training policy and maybe the role the heads of HR are going to play. The RIA has been completed and concluded for the review of the training policy. And we are now moving to the next stage of the actual review, and we would want your active participation because the training policy is not meeting the current needs of the service. We will urgently need your contributions on how we are we still going to call it a training policy? Is it still relevant? Are we talking about a capacity development, capacity enhancement policy or framework or whatever? So we are coming to that. Thank you.
Okay. The other issues are okay. I take note summary. Thank you. Maria, the RIA is being done. It is going to be attached before it goes to cabinet. The stammer raised over the culture. This one is a public service policy, but it's going to be customized each MDA to take care of your unique complex issues. So we are giving a bigger one, but you are going to customize so that you can pick whatever is there. Why moves? Not UMI and the other one, Civil Service College. Currently moves have moved ahead and have created that course and is not expired. So they have even gone ahead to source for funds from Islamic Development Bank, and they are willing to support government in this area. The other ones are sleeping on job maybe, but we would like all of them to be on the board. But when we train our staff, we will have these trainings done in Civil Service College. We're just using them as that aim, but our aim is taking to Civil Service College when we have experts.
John additionally mentioned the center we've already established at MOVES, which is not yet established at UMI and other universities.
Correct. All cadres, including the lawyers, we have knowledge. So this is why I say when we customize it, it will be all cadres. So this knowledge management policy cuts across all cadres. That's why we want professional development committees so that we have them knowledge their areas. Education Service Commission, professional development committees only apply to ministries. I'm sure the staff of the Education Service Commission come from a mother ministry somewhere. So that is why you will not be able to have cadres there. They reside somewhere. What the officer has done to be, yeah, we are talking of enabling environment. Currently, there is no enforcement, there is no utilization, and government has spent a lot of money to train and make them acquire knowledge, but not utilized. So this policy is going to solve part of that challenge. When you are submitting, my neighbor says it is going into HR policy. That HR policy should be designed to take care of behaviors, what be. So your behavior, your what will be under the P. This is knowledge we are dealing with intellectual asset. So, but we are taking care, we are linking our policy to information access because this is where we store our knowledge. So we are cognizant of some of these parts. Just because there were slides, we never went into details to bring every detail. Like I promised, I said that we are going to share a detailed policy. It explains all steps, and then you give us a feedback. Thank you.
Chris, can you respond to?
Yeah, very quickly, Chairman, I'll begin with summary. Madam, I raised the challenges coming from IPPS, not the challenges that we're facing of data that has been put in HCM, and that delays our rollout. This is data that was captured from votes. The futuristic dates were not put there by public service. What we simply do is we extract the data, and in transforming this data before migration, we note there are people who have not been verified. Public service is not responsible. The people who have futuristic dates of birth, public service is not responsible. They are put by the data capture officers at these votes. So that's why I raise it as challenges on your side as votes. Now, for the methods of getting in touch, besides the analog letters, phone calls are not bad unless you're saying, we don't like also to be called, but when you call, we should pick. So emails can come. There are tickets. There are many ways you can reach us. Some people walk physically. Like Joram is always walking over to come from DPP to public service. He comes physically and you can see his site.
Maybe exercise.
Yeah. So whatever method is convenient to you, we try to support everybody. We don't want to only focus on the tickets. But thank you so much for your
thank you so much, Samari, for what you're doing at once. You're one of those shining centers or sites. Now, for Kawempe, structures team is here. There's someone from institutional assessment. HCM is facilitating migration, but these modules belong to the technical departments. We do not go to change quotas, change positions. There is no position that belongs to HCM. These structures were given to you by institutional assessment. We simply come and check. If you were given 5, why do you have 15? We leave out the 10, we pick the 5. Meaning your conversation going forward should be with institutional assessment, not with the HCM team. And usually we give time that we're giving you 3 months, you negotiate for these positions we're talking about. After the 3 months, we cannot keep paying 2 parallel payrolls. Auditor General was here for a special audit, and we had almost 280 pages. The exit meeting was the other Friday. We were there, and we're answering our questions as well. Why are you sending payment files on IPPS having rolled out these people? And the reasons we're giving up, these people are not in the structure. If they're not in the structure, put them off or negotiate for those positions. That is not HCM. Pick it from institutional assessment and move forward. Now, Rim, thank you so much for offering a hand to talk to the votes where we fail to see the files. We usually take about 5 days at a vote. And Lira PLG, in those 5 days, could not avail those misplaced files. And they said they were in the service commission. The service commission offices are within the same building, but the files still could not come. We could not push them further. Ours was to not migrate people whose files we had not seen, and Lira fell victim. We didn't say that files were lost. We simply said we did not see, and we're being genuine to the principal who sent us. Now, the challenge is that plans is the same as I've explained. They have assistant records officers or records assistants who are not in the structure given to them by the Ministry of Public Service. We drew their attention and said we shall send payment files up to the 30th of June. We're negotiating this structure. They've never come. We cannot do much apart from dropping those people. So let them come forward and have their issues sorted. Joram, every vote we treat with respect. We do not push people. If you go to office of the president, the number of people who have been off-scaled there, their salary is not, they're getting salary that has been prescribed by the principal. In that case, we have to off-scale. We don't rush that to HCM before we have agreed with the votes. Your pressure group, we are going to give you that time. I don't know why you're panicking. We are coming there next month, but we shall treat every vote with its peculiar respect and confidentiality. So, Joram, thank you for raising. For the estates accounts, again, how do we identify estates accounts? It's not normal to see a person born in 1996 on the pension payroll. So usually we take those people below 60 and identify them as estates because they've been captured by the vote as pensioners. So when we set them aside, we send back the vote to be captured in a particular template, which we use for migrating. The responses never come. Let's treat the dead people properly because that's where we're heading. And one time, our data will be required. And if the HR plays around the way we're trying, it will not be good. Let's fill those templates and send back such that they can be migrated. Now, user requirements were done. Now, if this framework for performance management does not address the public universities, it's good Sophia's picked it up. This is in her docket. Please give us the reviewed framework for primary schools, public universities, and we shall upload it, just like we're going to do the same for the balance scorecard, which is in local governments and the Ministry of Local Government, and that has to be uploaded. HCM is a system. We're not prescribing new rules, and we're not a department that dictates these things. The technical owners are here. Finally, Makerere University, thank you so much. But again, this effort was also because of your committed team. Up to very late, even weekends, you were always available to provide whatever little information is required, and that really facilitates what we go through. And then from the University of Understanding, we understand how diverse you are located across the country. Again, this can be discussed. We started with the police force, there are 50,000. We were there for 2 months and we looked at each and every file of a police officer in Uganda. We shall be coming there in 2024 and we shall look at those files and where those people are located, whether in Zombo, when we shall reach there together with your team. Now, the debate can stop here. We have a WhatsApp group for post-go live support. And if you're not there, you must be missing a lot as the head of HR. I request that you leave your telephone contacts with me. We add you. You can, it's not necessary that if you're there, you talk, but you can be in Kamoli and you just watch the conversation from your comfort zone. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, I think, thank you very much. We may never stop our discussions if we continue. And yet, we also informed some people have meetings at 2 o'clock. And even the weather is conspiring unless it's really panic. I'm a very big Democrat. But you will not use a microphone. So be loud enough quickly.
Thank you, Chair. One issue was about the minutes, the issue of position of directors. The party came up with a guideline on the implementation. So we said that position for the director, and it can be presented to the PSA and share. So we got that. Then from Mariam, for Convention, we can take on that. In the year, and the road, in my department, we work on this.
Okay, thank you. That is the information which I think colleagues, we have had a very vibrant engagement. There are issues which have been recommended, which issues have been captured by the Secretariat. Some of them will appear in our action log. Others are issues which will be taken to the relevant technical departments to make a follow-up and will be reported in our next meeting. It's still a privilege to be your chair for this period. Not in the Ugandan speak. I'm not seeking for more time and another Kisanja, but I'm saying that you have been a very cooperative group of participants, and I've enjoyed chairing. May I now give the department and the secretariat the opportunity to make any quick administrative announcements before I declare the meeting officially closed.
Thank you very much, Chair and Acting PS, for presiding over this meeting. I don't know whether we would have had a better person to step in than you, and we thank you for accepting PS's guidance, stepping for him. The administrative announcements that we have. One, we enhancing your lunch. Lunch enhancement, stamp trust meal, still being served at the same venue. Before you leave, please help us, and or else we will be accused of negative expenditure. Make sure that we clear that item. For then, you'll be getting your transport by e-cash. So we are requesting that those who have not registered, please, you register with our members of the secretariat behind there before you leave. We needed to confirm your attendance before we forward the same. With those few announcements, maybe I request Pastor George to pray for our meal, then we shall depart at leisure. Thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. You know, when it's lunchtime, people forget the chair. They begin to marathon with the prayer. Basically, I think what I just wanted to state is that with the authority entrusted upon me and this chair, I would like to officially declare the meeting adjourned until next time. Thank you.
Okay. We pray. God, we want to thank you for the good time you have given us. Also thank you for the needs that have been prepared. I ask you to give the team reasonable appetite that we can be able to share all of us in Jesus' name.